Welcome back to the intermission special as ZLX and Ski Market Underground present Grateful Dead legend Bob Weir and Rat Dog, captured live in concert September 29th at the Worcester Palladium. Now we go to our ZLX backstage mobile studio and our own Dave Lawrence, who's joined by Bob Weir for a lengthy between-set chat. It's the intermission special on 100.7 WZLX, Boston's classic rock.
It's Dave Lawrence with our intermission special and the star of the show, Bobby Weir. Bobby, thanks again for taking more time to talk to me.
You bet.
It's my 4th interview with you in 1 year, so I feel like I'm really racking them up.
Let's see if I have anything left to say.
Oh, I'm sure we'll get something good. When we were talking before, leading up to this broadcast, we did a conversation on the radio, on the phone, and we talked about where you had been on September 11th, and because now we're talking again, nice, crisp, clear conversation in the studio, I thought that you could elaborate a little bit. If you could try to set the stage for me, September 11th, your first waking moments of that day.
Well, the phone rang. It was my press guy, Dennis McNally, who was in town in New York with me. We were staying in a midtown hotel, and he woke me up saying, you better turn on the TV. And I did, and was confronted with the full horror of what was going on. At that point, I think I woke up just right as the second airplane hit.
So you woke up and started watching TV. Both buildings were still standing.
Yeah. And I watched for a little while, and then both buildings came down, and at that point I'd seen enough. So I went down into the street, and it was a beautiful day. By the time I got down into the street, there was no traffic in the city. There were no cars anywhere. So you could just stand in the middle of the avenues and watch the smoke billowing away from the downtown area. And it being a beautiful day, there were a lot of people down there in the street wearing their bravest smiles and trying to figure it all out. What does this all mean to us now? What's the world going to be like now? It was amazing to see New York sort of come together. I had the distinct feeling that if I stumbled in a pothole out there in the middle of the avenue while I was walking around watching the smoke, that 8 or 10 folks would have caught me before I hit the ground. I got a sort of a chance to see the heart that lies beneath the sort of gruff exterior of New York City. There's a lot of heart there, and I think in America in general, and I think we're going to be seeing that in the time to come.
You said in our last conversation about this thing in New York that you went out on the street and mixed it up with people. And ever since that interview on the air, I've been getting calls, people saying, what did Bobby mean by that? He's mixing it up with people. Was he hanging with rescue workers? Explain that to me.
No, I was midtown, so I wasn't anywhere near the catastrophe.
So you didn't go down to
No, I had really, I knew that I'd just get in the way down there, and I had, I don't have that much morbid curiosity. Everybody has a little, but I knew I'd just be in the way, so I didn't go.
So by mixing it up with people, you just meant there in Midtown on the street, just catching New Yorkers reacting to it.
Yeah.
And why were you in New York?
Well, I was there for a banquet the night before. There's a food magazine that honored me as the Humanitarian of the Year for putting out these sauces that I put out.
Weir sauces.
Yeah. The proceeds, all the proceeds go to
the Further Foundation. Yeah, we can talk about that, actually. Tell me a little bit about the Weir sauces, because that's something I went online. I love the website. It has some great graphics. And Bobby has these great sauces. If you're into eating, and you got to be if you're a human, then maybe you should check out Bobby's sauces, because it's also a benefit. Tell us about them.
Well, the whole thing started sort of as a dodge, a way to dodge Christmas shopping, because I just have limited patience for that. And so, I like to mess around in the kitchen. I have a lot of fun in there. And so every Christmas, I just make a couple of huge vats of some sort of sauce and put it in a fancy bottle and just pass them out at Christmas. And I get away with no Christmas shopping that way. And after doing that for a few years, I guess I was passing them around at Grateful Dead Productions, and one of the people in the merchandising department said, well, listen, what you got to do is market this stuff. You could put the proceeds to charity, much in the manner of Paul Newman.
Sure.
And I always admired what Paul was up to there. That's a huge business he's generated there, and it does a lot of great work. So
It's all about doing good.
yeah, and so I saw my chance and I took it.
Now, you have two different areas of sauce. There's like a southwestern barbecue kind of sauce, and
Yeah.
there's like a Pacific Rim sort of thing.
Pacific Rim kind of deal. And there are stir-fry sauces or wok sauces, whatever you want to call them, and then there are hot sauces. And actually, the stir-fry sauces, you can, you water them down, or not water, but use a little more, put in a little more oil and vinegar, and you got salad dressing. You can use them. You can use them as a grill sauce. You can, you can pour them on your cereal. You can find stuff to do with them. I dip bread in them.
At WeirSauces.com, you actually offer recipes, however.
Yeah.
So there are some of your suggestions you're saying right here. There's
Yeah.
a salad dressing suggestion.
And
on
stuff
there.
other people have been doing too.
Oh, yeah, people send them in and
People
hook
have been
you up.
making desserts with them.
So are you a spicy food guy?
Yeah.
I'm like way into really spicy food, especially like Indian food. I'm way into spicy
Right.
Indian food.
It doesn't get hot enough for me.
Okay, and is there a particular ethnic variety of food that you enjoy hot more than others? Are you a Mexican
I
guy?
just like to mix it up.
How about Mexican stuff?
Mexican's great, but Mexican isn't that hot.
Right, no, it isn't, because it's just a jalapeno that you're basing it
Right.
off of.
Actually, cumin and there are a couple of other peppers that I associate with, or not peppers, but spices that I associate. What is it? Achajote, or epazote, cumin or whatever, however you pronounce that. I've never known. Those are the spices that I kind of associate with Mexican food, and then there's chipotle, but they don't use that in everything. They use chocolate and stuff like that.
Sure. This is a whole different side of Bobby Weir people may not know about. I encourage it, however, because at the website, like Bobby just said, this is about charity. And at his website, it's not just sauces. It's like sauces and helping people out. And I talk about the charitable work that gets done.
Well, the purview of the Further Foundation is mainly environmental concerns and homelessness concerns, and education.
So those are the main sort of benefactors
Yeah.
from the funds of it.
Yeah.
One of the things that makes you sort of different compared to other people that you could talk to right after an attack on America like we've just witnessed is you're one of the few Western artists who's actually played in the Middle East. And you've played in Egypt.
Uh-huh.
It was a very historic run. It was a long, long time ago. And I did a little timeline to bring along with me today for this interview, since it's September 29th. Now, you didn't play in Egypt on September 29th, but you were there September 14th through 16th of 1978 in Cairo. What was the genesis of that journey to Egypt for the Dead?
Well, we had just always sort of said to ourselves, what would it be like to play at the Great Pyramids? It's a big mystery spot. It looms large in our lexicon of stuff to wonder about. I always had, and so finally we just said, hey, let's just go and do it. And John Scher, who was one of our promoters at the time, and also Bill Graham, sort of came together and got us over there.
So it was. I was going to ask, how much of a role did Bill Graham play in all of that?
He stepped out of it at first, and then he had second thoughts, and then came in at the about halfway through the job of getting it all happening. It was at that time a monstrous undertaking.
Sure.
Just getting power out to the stage.
It was quite pioneering at the time, right?
They don't have generators and stuff like that.
And they don't do shows at the pyramid.
Well, they do. They do a light show at the pyramid, and they have a funky sound
Right, the Giza
system.
light show thing, right?
But they had nothing that would be required to put on a rock and roll show. So we had to get it there, and we had to get it working. And it was interesting. I mean, in order to call out of the country, at least in '78, you had to make a reservation with the phone company to call out like 2 or 3 days in advance, and then maybe it'd happen.
Just to get an outside line out of Egypt.
Right, just to get an outside line. What happened there was the British had been in Egypt before, I guess, Nasser threw them out, and they got kind of pissy, and so they said, okay, well, we're out of here. And by the way, we're taking the blueprints to the phone system and other stuff. And needless to say, nothing works. At least at that point, nothing worked particularly smoothly. Getting out of the Cairo airport, landing was no problem. You'd come in and they'd get your bags off the plane, and then you were pretty much on your own getting them from there. But getting back onto the plane and out of the country presented logistical challenges that not a whole lot of those folks were up to.
In terms of what, like the searching and getting customs?
No, not the searching, just the ticketing process. You'd be amazed at how much red tape and bureaucratic stuff that goes on, and how little these people are accultured to do this. It makes any hassle that you've ever had with any airline pale
by comparison.
Vastly by comparison, yeah.
Did you go to any other destinations in the Middle East when you made that trip to Egypt?
Well, we went down into the Nubian desert, pretty close to Sudan. I'm not sure exactly where we were.
Towards Luxor? And
well, way past Luxor.
Okay.
Past Aswan. We got out and visited a couple of villages and stuff like that.
Didn't do Israel while you were there?
No.
Ever been back to the Middle East since?
Not since, no.
As someone your job involves traveling, you kind of have a gig. A lot of people see it as a dream gig. You get to go all over the world. You've been to a lot of exotic places. Do you find that traveling is still a real passion for you, and where are the places that you really want to go?
Well, I really like Southeast Asia. I just like the feel of the place. The Buddhist cultures, they're the nicest people on earth as far as I've been able to see. And also the Hindu cultures, they're just joyous people. And I like to visit places that are like that. Get a little sun, maybe catch some surf, whatever.
Do you find when you go places, how do you get inspired? I'm wondering, I know that I've discovered just in this one conversation, cooking is a huge passion. Mm-hmm. I know you still like to go to some places. You've expressed which places in the world you're passionate about. Is it inspired by some of the places or interests that you have?
No, not at all. I have no idea how it happens. It just, the heavens open and stuff comes.
And out just comes the ideas?
Sometimes I spend a long time chasing ideas and stuff like that and manage to wring something out of it. Sometimes stuff occurs to me just, whole, pretty much.
The Evening Moods record with Rat Dog seemed to me, as a fan, to take many years to arrive. Was that you were looking for the exact amount of tunes, the right presentation for the record? Why was it that Evening Moods, it seems like a really long...
Actually, what happened was we were changing personnel in the band, and so there was always a new guy, and he had to learn our book, and so we spent the first few years teaching the new guy. And I got really, really tired of teaching people songs over and over again, but finally the personnel sort of gelled and stabilized, and then we were able to start writing, and then it happened fairly quickly.
So it's that cohesion that led to Evening Moods?
Yeah.
Cool. You're getting ready to go through, the fall's continuing. I don't know where the Rat Dog tour ends. I've been at rat-dog.com a lot checking out stuff. What's the finale of this tour?
I think Chicago. But what comes between here and Chicago, I can't really tell you.
Bunch of stuff, yeah, I'm sure. I wasn't going to get you to give me the itinerary or anything. The end of the year always has brought a big thing for Dead fans, and that's New Year's Eve. Are you going to do anything?
We got our best guys on it, and I'm pretty sure something will happen.
Last New Year's, you did a show in Oakland, and George Clinton and P-Funk were on the same bill.
Right.
And did you have any interaction with him backstage?
No, because I was busy trying to get ready for the show, because we hadn't, the group, the other ones hadn't been together for a while,
sure.
So for a few months, so there was a lot of running down the material and preparation.
The fans would have loved to have. We would have loved to have seen that.
I would love to have done that too.
Are you a Funkadelic fan?
Oh yeah.
The old Funkadelic?
Yeah.
Like Cosmic Slop, standing on the verge.
Ohio Players, all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're a funk guy.
Yeah.
Cool. Excellent. I have to know if you remember this one particular gig. I know it must drive you crazy because the world of our culture, the dead culture, is all about dates and stuff, and fans live by these dates.
Right.
In the spring of 1986, there was a whole era of a sound. Do you remember eras? Can you remember that particular era as a time that maybe the music had a very experimental quality or not?
Was this before or after Jerry's first coma?
Just before the coma.
Just before.
Yeah.
Just before.
That's how I think of it too.
I actually remember the era when he came back out of it as being a particularly hot one. I guess 87, 88, 89.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do think of it in terms of eras.
I have this one show that this is my one favor. In exchange for hooking this broadcast up, I hope that if you have this in your vault somewhere, I'd love to get, and I'll give you the date later, it's May 10th, 1986, Frost Amphitheater, Palo Alto.
You remind me, and I'll do it.
I'll remind you. Is that a deal?
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right.
That would mean the world to me. Bobby Weir joining us here on 100.7 WZLX, Boston's
right.
Classic Rock. Thank you so much for taking the
bet.
time. We appreciate it.
Hi, it's Bobby Weir from the Grateful Dead and now Rat Dog, and you're in good hands with my buddy Dave Lawrence on 100.7 WZLX, Boston's Classic Rock.
Hear more of our own Dave Lawrence with Grateful Dead icon Bob Weir. Dave has logged 4 interviews with Bobby in 2001 alone. Hear the other 3 online in the interview archive at WZLX.com. Now, stay tuned for Set 2. That's next, as we continue with the Grateful Dead's Bob Weir and Rat Dog, recorded live September 29th at the Worcester Palladium. Presented by Ski Market Underground and 100.7 WZLX, Boston's Classic Rock.
Hey, my friend. Can I call you my friend?